Hello, and welcome to round 2 of Narrative Telephone. For the uninitiated, here's how the game works. Our storyteller of choice will be starting us off by recording a short story. They will then send off that video to the next person who will only be able to watch it once. That person must then record themselves recounting that story to the best of their memory before sending their version off to the next person, and so on and so forth until everyone is gone. The final retelling is sure to be, well, you'll see how it goes.
Thwarted again. No! I've come too far. I was just starting to like this tropical town. I'm sure those stupid elves back at the North Pole still think I'm at the bottom of the Halloween tree. Too bad the great Oogie Boogie didn't know that Chutney Chocolatecane always keeps a razor blade in his mouth. He does now. I was here on the beach when I heard some poor lovesick fool talking about the latest performance of the Ruby of the Sea. Ruby? Could that be the fat man in his red suit getting his musical theater rocks off in the off-season? No, not here, not now! I had to be sure. I went into town when I became distracted by the most beautiful toy store I had ever seen. When that is when inspiration struck. What is the one thing Saint Nick does over and over on that fateful night? He slides down chimneys and delivers toys. At the bottom of those chimneys is always supposed to be a roaring fire, and somehow, conveniently, he never gets burned. Perhaps we could exploit that. I learned of an arcane rune that, when carved into the base of an item, would give its owner increased susceptibility to fire damage. I could carve it on a toy, throw it in Santa's sack, watch him slide down a chimney, and kablooey! No more. I went into that toy store and found the first wooden toy I could find, carved my rune, watched it glow before it returned to normal, and treasured my plan. When suddenly, the item was taken from me, I turned as a small creature was darting out the front door. A thief! I had to respect it, but I was not to be thwarted. I chased this creature down the street as she headed into a house. As I pressed my face against the window, I saw a small female halfling woman kneeling in front of her son, handing over a very familiar, arcane-enchanted wooden crossbow. What was I going to do? Steal a toy from a kid? As long as he doesn't go jumping in his fireplace, I'm sure it'll be fine. Chutney will have his revenge.
Drat! Thwarted again! Oh, I've come too far to give up now. I find myself stuck in this tropical place, sent here by those stupid elves who probably thought they were dropping me off at Halloween Town again, those idiots. They didn't realize that I have a mind as sharp as a razor blade. Anyway, it is I, Chutney Chocolatecane, hell-bent on revenge once again. Yes, I find myself in this beach community. But then I was drawn, after I arrived, I was drawn to the sound of a lovesick song, a song being performed by someone named the Ruby of the Sea. I heard the word ruby and I thought, aha, that must be the fat man himself. You know how he loves musical theater. So I followed the voice. I followed it all the way to a toy store where I saw her exiting. That's when I had a brilliant stroke of genius. Saint Nick, everyone knows, delivers toys by dropping down a chimney and delivering the toys to young boys and girls across the world. And we also know that he's somehow impervious to the flame at the bottom of the chimney. But I, Chutney, thought that if I could somehow get some arcane runes and put them on a toy that I then chuck into Saint Nick's bag, the fat man won't even know it. When he drops down the chimney, the arcane rune will activate, and it will enhance the damage of the fire damage that happens to him. So he'll drop down the chimney and kablooey! He'll explode and be vanquished once and for all. So I went into the toy store and bought the first wooden toy I could come up with. I grabbed it off the shelf, and right as I was paying for it, another small creature came in and stole it from me and dashed out the door. I chased after this small creature down the street, following her all the way to her small abode, where I peeked through the curtains and saw that inside she was giving this small wooden toy hand crossbow to her son. Well, what was I going to do? Steal a toy from a child? I'm not a monster. Even so, I will have my revenge. I will get even with that red bastard. I will kill Santa Claus!
Hey everybody, it's me, Chutney Chocolatecane, and I'm going to tell you a story about this time that I found myself mysteriously in a tropical paradise, and I was lost and looking around when suddenly I heard some singing. Somebody who passed by said the singing was coming from the Ruby of the Sea, which is obviously secret code for that bastard Santa Claus. Finally, I could have my revenge. And so I followed the singing slowly until I came across a toy shop. Sadly, the singing was coming from a strange crimson woman. But then, as she left the toy shop, I had an idea. As everyone knows, Santa is impervious to fire damage that he gets when he goes down a chimney and hits the fire beneath the chimney. Obviously, he is fine when he hits it. It does nothing. But if I could put a magic rune on a toy and sneak it into his bag, I could negate his imperviousness to fire and finally kill Santa Claus. And so I went into the toy shop to find a wooden toy to inscribe that magic rune upon, and as I brought it to the counter to pay for it, this small, tiny creature ran up and grabbed it from my hands, and she scurried off outside the toy shop. I gave chase and followed her through the streets until I found a small house, and as I peeked through the window, I saw that she was giving it to a small child, and, well, I mean, I'm not going to take a crossbow from a small boy. I'm not a monster. I mean, come on. But one day, I will have my revenge on that red bastard.
Hey everyone, it's me, Chutney Chocolatecane, that old so-and-so from the North Pole. I'm here to tell you a story of when I was off on a fabulous vacation in a tropical location, when I suddenly heard on the wind a beautiful singing. I had to know who it was. A passerby let me know that it was a fabulous singer known as the Ruby of the Sea. I had a suspicion that was a pseudonym for that fat bastard Santa Claus. So I followed the sound of the singing, and it led me into town. And there I saw a statuesque red woman walking towards a toy shop, and I knew it was Santa in disguise. I crept up to the window of the toy shop and peered inside, and I saw her buying a small toy, and I thought, oh, this is my chance. I hatched a plan right there and then, for everyone knows that Santa Claus is impervious to fire. For when he goes down the chimney into your home with his toys, nothing at all happens, unfortunately. But if I couldn't inscribe a magic rune on a toy and leave it under the tree for him, then Santa could pick it up and lose his impervious to fire, and the next time he touched down, smoldering flames. So, when Santa left the shop, I walked right in and asked for a toy. Is that what happened? I can't remember. Oh, shoot. Let's say that I followed the woman to her home. I wanted the toy she got. She bought a crossbow. That would be perfect. So I followed this Santa Claus to her home and looked in the window of the small house. No, that's not it. Rewind. When I was in the shop, a small creature, that's it, walked up and bought a crossbow and cut me off to getting the toy I wanted, and I followed her, not Santa, that bastard who I'll catch up with later, to her home and looked in the window and saw her giving the crossbow to a very small child, like 1.5 feet, and gave it. And I thought, well, that would have been perfect, but I'm not going to steal a crossbow from a small child. What am I, some kind of monster? That's Travis Willingham, not me. So I let the child have it and knew that one day, if I bided my time, Santa Claus would be mine. Travis, there's something wrong with you.
Yes. It's time for me to tell you a story. A story about how I, Chutney Chocolatecane, came so close to defeating my nemesis. It all begins when I went to a tropical location for a well-deserved vacation. When I heard a voice pure and sweet, the most lovely singing I'd ever seen or heard, more like. And I remembered whispers about a ruby of the sea. Yes, that could only be one person. The Crimson Crap himself. That red bastard Santa Claus. Well, I took it upon myself then, and there I followed the voice, and there I beheld the most devious disguise I'd ever seen. A tiefling woman, red, with horns, and beautiful form-fitting robes, and honestly, for a second there, I was kind of like, hey girl, hey, but let's not digress. I saw through his disguise immediately, and as he entered a toy store, of course it was a toy store, lazy, I hatched a plan. I know that if he doesn't have a weakness, I could make one. He's immune to fire, yes. That's why every time he goes down a chimney, nothing happens. But I could draw runes, arcane sigils on the toy, and then when he touches it, as he goes to put it under the chimney, under the tree, ha! He goes poof. The moment he gets near fire again, yes, this is a perfect plan. There's no reason to think about it at all and inspect it for flaws. So I watched and waited for my opportunity. A toy was bought, and then I followed the red woman. Oh, no, that's reverse it. That's not how that went. Ah, yes, I was full of my ties. And I didn't follow the red woman home. Someone else bought a toy. Knee-high. Tiny. A little crossbow. Yes, I followed that person back to their home, and I watched as they handed off the crossbow to a young child. Couldn't have been more than like a foot, like 2 feet tall, just incomprehensibly tiny. Yes, smelling of thoughts and hope. And I had to think, am I the kind of person that would take a toy from a child just to curse like a crimson idiot? No, I'm not. I'm not that bad. I'm not him. So I let it happen. And I watched this beautiful moment. And as I slinked back into the darkness, my tie in hand, paper umbrella behind my ear, I plotted for another day and another way to bring down that Christmas clown himself.
Hello, and let me tell you a story about how I, Chutney Chocolatecane, almost took out that rat bastard in red himself. Now, it all begins when I was taking a much-needed vacation somewhere on a tropical space. And it was on this journey, this vacation, that I heard the most beautiful voice that I'd ever seen, or heard, for that matter. And I found myself drawn to this beautiful singing. And I wondered, could this be a trap? Does he know I'm coming? So I went to inspect. And as I went through the streets, my tie in hand, I went and found what I knew to be a dubious disguise of this terrible Santa beast, as I saw him glamored to be a woman in red skin with horns, performing for those around her. But I will not be outsmarted, you fool! Christmas fool! So, I began to lay my plan. Thinking about it, I followed him after he left the shop and went into a toy shop. Of course, he would go into a toy shop, wouldn't he? Stupid bastard. That's what I thought. I would lay a trap for him here. Now, I know he was resistant to fire, but if I could lay a series of magical runes upon one of these toys, then perhaps when he took the toy and brought it back to his home, then I could set it off and boom! No fault to this plan whatsoever, thinking about it. No, perfectly problem-proof. Sound, indeed. So, I went and followed him. No, reverse that. I drank too many Mai Tais and did not follow him back home. Instead, it was not him, but a small, much shorter creature that bought a toy. Indeed, yes, a little wooden crossbow that I had already ensorcelled with these runes, and I followed them home and watched as they instead gave this toy that I had set to detonate the man in crimson, instead to a small child, no more than a foot, 2 feet tall, impossibly small child. And I thought, am I the kind of creature who would destroy the life of this being just to curse this fat man? No, I am not such a creature. So, instead, I watched the child accept the gift and watched a beautiful moment between this family. And I wandered off with the paper umbrella behind my ear and cackling into the night, preparing and plotting another day where I would indeed get my vengeance upon that terrible, jolly fat man.
Hello! That's for sure not it. Hello, I am here to tell you a tale, and my name is Chutney Chocolatecane. And I'm gonna talk to you about the red bastard himself, Santa Claus. So I decided to go on a vacation in the tropics, and I'm having a good time minding my own damn business when I heard the most beautiful voice I've ever seen, or heard for that matter. And I think about, oh no, could this be a trap that the red beast has laid before me? So I go to the sound of the person singing, and it's the red beast himself, glamorized for the whole audience as a woman, as an opera singer, and she's singing and everyone's loving it, and finally finishes, and I follow that rat bastard, and what do you know, he goes into a toy store like the predictable idiot that he is, and this is where it gets a little fuzzy. I take a toy that I know he's going to take, and I infuse it with runes of destruction so it'll detonate his sleigh when he puts it on the sleigh. And what do you know? I'm drinking my Mai Tais, having a grand old time, and a child grabs the toy instead. I'm panicking. The toy is going with the kid and the parents, and nothing happens. It doesn't detonate, thank goodness. But I'll learn my runes next time to get them a little better, and I'm gonna pop that Mai Tai umbrella in my ear, and I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this vacation and get them next time, you piece of shit. Red velveteen big old boy.
Hello! Oh, nope. Hello, my name is Chutney Chocolatecane, and let me tell you the story about how I almost got that big red and white bastard, the big man himself. You see, I was on this trip, like a hunting trip? Walking through the woods, minding my own business, and there, across the way, I see the red, floofy bastard himself. And so I follow him, and he goes into exactly the most predictable place that idiot could have picked, which is a toy store. And, oh wait, I got here because I heard a beautiful noise, the most beautiful noise in the forest that I ever heard, and I got there, and it was big red man performing as a female opera singer, and was just dazzling the crowd, and they don't even know the trick that's happening to them. And as he goes off after pulling this ruse as a lady opera singer to everybody, I follow him. And then that's when he goes into a toy store, the predictable bastard. So I thought this was my chance, and I take a toy that I knew he needed to gift to a loving and kind and needy children, and I infused it with runes to set a trap so that when he takes it back, it'll explode his sleigh, and I will have gotten him once and for all. But, much to my dismay, I see a little child pick up the toy instead. And I'm sitting there with my Mai Tais, because now I'm on vacation, I guess, and I'm watching this play out, and I'm like, oh no, oh, what's about to happen? And nothing happens. The trap doesn't spring. So I'm like, whew, okay. Next time, I'll have to make sure that I get my runes right, but I guess in this case, probably good that those runes didn't go off. So, I'm just gonna finish my Mai Tai, and next time, you big Christmas bastard.
Hello, my name is my name is Chutney Chocolatecane, and I'm here to tell you about the time that I almost got that big, red, shit for brains, big man. I was on a hunting trip like you do, and I was walking through the woods when I hear the most amazing, the most magical sound you've ever heard in all of the North Pole was a voice singing. So I go to it, and there he is, the big, red, floofy man himself, singing to a crowd. He's pretending to be is this the voice? Because I feel like Chutney was like an old guy. He's pretending to be a opera singer. And all the people are just loving it. They're eating it up, and they don't know the magical entanglements he's giving them. So they're watching it, and he finishes the performance, and they're all, clapping, and he walks away. So what do? Hey, I follow him. Maybe I should change to an old guy. And I follow him, and of course he goes in the most predictable place you've ever seen. You could ever imagine. A toy store. So I follow him into the toy store, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I gonna do here? So I find a toy that he's gonna need to give to some wonderful, kind child, and I take the toy, and I put runes all over it, and they're magical runes that are set to explode as soon as he gets them onto his sleigh, so it'll end the guy once and for all. And so I leave. I set that, and then I leave, and I'm watching what's happening on. I don't know how I'm watching it. I'm watching it on a phone, maybe? Am I on a beach? I'm watching it on my phone. I got a Mai Tai. I'm watching everything happen in the store, and instead of Santa walking up, this kid walks up who's apparently at the same store that Santa shops at, and I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh no, this is meant for him, and then it doesn't work. The thing that happens is the runes don't go off, and hindsight, I should probably work on my runes but this particular time it was really good because I don't want to hurt a child. So yeah, good times. I think there was more to the story, but Marisha's sweatshirt got me. So yeah, it's Chutney signing off with my Mai Tai.
Are we doing Jack?
I don't feel good about it. Will said to keep the energy, so this is how I interpreted that. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, look at this. Another lovely evening shoot. Look at us. Cheers! Cheers! And welcome, special guest, Aabria Iyengar.
Hi! Aabria! I just snuck in. I've been doing random Zoom calls, and then I found y'all, and I just stayed.
Yes! She can never leave.
So we had another Travis Willingham special today.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, it was you.
Christmas and when is this going to air? April? I don't know. It's
Christmas in spring.
Christmas in
spring.
Oh my god.
Kind of. It was off-season Christmas in spring.
Yeah.
Plotting in spring. But
Yeah.
I don't know if the story stayed that way.
No. I mean, I think no.
I don't think it.
I don't remember anymore.
I don't either. I don't remember doing this at all. Did we really?
A little bit of a fugue state. I'm not gonna lie.
I did my best.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of things. A lot happening in the world.
Yeah, that's all we can ask.
I did my best. Nice.
Well,
Oh God.
let's get a refresher from Travis. We know Travis started.
Oh, hey, hello there, Ro.
Do you pop
Why is
in?
he not in the big...
It looks
I
like
thought
an
I was
island
out of
that's actually
frame.
it's like actually a turtle.
It again. No! I've come too far.
This is the voice.
Oh,
that's the voice.
Those stupid elves back at the North Pole still think I'm at the bottom of the Halloween tree.
Halloween.
But the great Oogie Boogie didn't know that Chutney Chocolatecane always keeps a razor blade in his mouth.
Chocolate cane? What?
Now, I was here on the beach when I heard some poor lovesick fool talking about the latest performance of the Ruby of the Sea. Ruby? Could that be the fat man in his red suit getting his musical theater rocks off in the off-season? No, not here. Not here.
Wow.
Sure. I went into town when I became distracted by the most beautiful toy store I had ever seen. When that is when inspiration struck. What is the one thing Saint Nick does over and over on that fateful night? He goes down chimneys and delivers toys.
This is riveting.
So
good. Yeah.
Roaring fire, and somehow, conveniently, he never gets burned. Perhaps we could exploit that. I learned of an arcane rune that when carved into the base of an item would give its owner increased susceptibility to fire damage. What? I could carve it out, throw it in Santa's sack, watch him slide down a chimney and kablooey! No more. I went into that toy store and found the first wooden toy I could find, carved my rune, watched it glow before it returned to normal, and treasured my plan. When suddenly, the item was taken from me, I turned as a small creature was darting out the front door. A thief! I had to respect it, but I was not to be thwarted. I chased this creature down the street as she headed into a house. As I pressed my face against the window, I saw a small female halfling woman kneeling in front of her son, handing over a very familiar, arcane enchanted wooden crossbow. What was I going to do? Steal a toy from a kid? As long as he doesn't go jumping in his fireplace, I'm sure it'll be fine. Chutney will have his revenge.
What?
That's exactly how I remember doing it. So
It's
it
a
wasn't
strong
easy.
start. It's a high level of difficulty.
Wow.
Where did that go?
That is also just the most perfect performance I've seen Travis do in any arena doing any
It's rehearsed.
Mr. Willingham, you're accepted to Juilliard.
All it took was the Chutney monologue, made popular here on Narrative Telephone.
Oh my God, how amazing would it be if years from now we get word that someone was accepted into some institution using the Chutney monologue?
I kind of want a Night Before Christmas chutney style at this point. I think we have to do that at the end.
Yes.
Get you in an elf costume.
I started casting the live action film of this, and I think it's Liam Neeson.
I will find you, and I will kill you.
It's so well done.
That was great.
It's so good.
It was fast talking. I loved it by the looks on your faces. It clearly didn't stay anywhere near that.
I want to know where it all fell apart because that's
Speaking
not
of things
where it
burning
ended.
in the fire.
I wanted to give you lots of off ramps, and it sounds like at least some of you took them.
It did. It started with Sam.
I don't know how much of that I got.
Not a lot. As the person who went after you, not a lot.
Let the pissing on it begin.
Yeah, the first third of mine is a blur. So.
Oh no.
Yep.
Thwarted again. Oh, I've come too far to give up now. I find myself stuck in this tropical place, sent here by those stupid elves who probably thought they were dropping me off at Halloween Town again, those idiots.
Fuck. Okay.
I realize that
Halloween Town, the costume store.
Halloween Town on Magnolia.
Anyway, it is I, Chutney Chocolatecane, hell-bent on revenge once again. Yes, I find myself in this beach community, but then I was drawn.
Like a retirement community?
I was drawn to the sound of a lovesick song.
Smoke a ratone.
By someone named the Ruby of the Sea.
Oh no.
I heard the word ruby and I thought, aha, that must be the fat man himself. You know how he loves musical theater. So I followed the voice. I followed it all the way to a toy store where I saw her exiting.
You got there?
That's when I had a brilliant stroke of genius. Saint Nick, everyone knows, delivers toys by dropping down a chimney and delivering the toys to young boys and girls.
Delivering the boys to toys. I would like to hear more about this second Christmas theme event.
Right?
I could somehow get some arcane runes and put them on a toy that I then chuck into Saint Nick's bag. The fat man won't even know it. When he drops down the chimney, he'll be...
Once again, excellent use of your ring light.
And it will enhance the damage of the fire damage that happens.
Glad you're using it.
Okay.
So he'll drop down the chimney and kabloom!
Yeah, that's my ring light.
Ring light in
Be
the corner.
vanquished once and for all.
Look at his crazy eyes.
And got the first
I'm lost in
toy
them.
I could come up with. I grabbed it off the shelf, and right as I was paying for it, another small creature came in and stole it from me and dashed out the door. Oh, I chased the small creature down the street, following her all the way to her small abode, where I peeked through the curtains and saw that inside
Good.
she
Created the
was
space.
giving this small wooden toy hand crossbow to her son. Well, what was I going to do? Steal a toy from a child? I'm not a monster. Even so, I will have my revenge. I will get even with that
Here we go.
red bastard.
There we go. That's familiar.
Real violent.
I will say, I'm impressed. Sam has continuously been the person that has trimmed time off. He added 40 seconds to the story. Well done.
Oh wow.
Well, I had to figure out if Santa was delivering boys or toys. That took a while.
You get a child. You get a child. You get a child.
I didn't realize this. I'm wearing the same outfit that I was wearing.
Have you
when I shot that video? I don't know that I have.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Oh, man. Who would follow Sam?
To Allison.
That would be me.
Yay!
All right, let's see the rails.
Give us
go
the voice.
I want to see crazy eyes, Taliesin. I want to see some crazy eyes.
You look amazing.
Let's go.
It's the No More T-shirts 2021.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Chutney Candy.
It's the Crypt Keeper.
Story about this time that I found myself mysteriously in a tropical paradise.
It totally is.
Looking around when suddenly
Take that,
I heard
Kassir.
some singing. Somebody who passed by said the singing was coming from the ruby of the sea.
You trimmed all of the story, Taliesin. That's where it all went.
Bastard Santa Claus.
It started with Crypt Keeper and it's turned into Skeletor.
Yes.
I'll get you, He-Man.
All desiccated villains have their moment here.
Sadly, the singing was coming from a strange crimson woman.
Professional
Then,
desiccator.
As she left the toy shop, I had an idea.
Oh, there was a woman singing in the toy
As
shop.
everyone knows, Santa is impervious to fire.
I figured she was doing a show like an amoeba.
When he goes down the chimney and hits the fire beneath the chimney.
So fucking gone.
This is a Tiny Desk concert.
Does nothing but
You have to do a tiny concert with amoeba. It's great.
magic rune on a toy and sneak it into his bag.
Magic
I
rune.
could
Got this
give
part.
his imperviousness to fire and finally kill Santa Claus.
And those kids won't stop me.
Went into the toy shop to find a wooden toy to inscribe
couldn't
that
remember
magic
what the
rune
actual
upon.
was.
And as I brought it to the counter to pay for it, this small
I don't like how natural this feels for you, Taliesin.
I was just hoping to distract people with the Dolly Parton candle in the back, but clearly that didn't work.
Oh, no!
That candle's amazing.
Until
Love
I
it.
found a small house, and as I
You got a second.
through the window, I saw that she was giving it to a small child.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to take a crossbow from a small boy. I'm not a monster. Come on.
You seem like you are.
I will have my revenge on that red bastard.
Yeah, fuck it.
I'm terrified.
Fuck it.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. That came out way more villainous than I recall.
Yeah, I want this to be your campaign 3 character.
Yeah, me too, bro. Jesus.
Oh my god.
Upsetting.
Yeah, you trimmed off the extra time that Sam put on there. Well done.
And you added a healthy dose of Crypt Keeper, which is
A
great.
little maniacal laughter at the end, which hopefully made its way to the end.
You did feel like a bad guy from an Indiana
I guarantee you it did not.
I hope the dead eyes continue. Not the dead eyes, the threatening eyes. Because those were intense.
That's what happens when you use a ring
Liam.
light.
Liam.
The poop
Please
angle.
tell me that's the angle you
Where
stuck
are
with.
you?
Are you a kaiju?
Yeah.
Why?
I know what those contain.
Did you just... Oh, yes. Here we go.
Chutney Candy-Cane.
Yes.
This is amazing.
So from the North Pole.
Why are you so golden?
I'm here to tell you a story.
It's your whole body.
It's very good.
Tropical location.
And you added like a little rhyme.
Windy.
I love it.
Beautiful
So good.
singing. I had to know who it was. A passerby let me know that it was a fabulous singer known as the Ruby of the Sea. I had a suspicion it was a pseudonym for that fat bastard Santa Claus.
You're turning into a butterball turkey.
The hand acting is amazing.
It's Winston Churchill as Chutney.
Why do you have a heat lamp on you?
He's trying to hatch himself.
Right? The Jurassic Park hand comes down.
Buying a small toy. And I thought, oh, this is my chance. I hatched a plan right there and then. For everyone knows.
For everyone knows. Yes, you must hatch a plan, you must.
When he comes down the chimney home with his toys, nothing at all happens. Unfortunately. But
What have I done?
This is so
British
long.
now.
This is so good.
and leave it under the tree for him. Then Santa would pick it up and
Wow,
remove
just
his
put it right
impervious
back.
to fire, and the next time he touched down,
Oh god, his head's gonna burn.
so
Is this scam?
We've lost him. He's gone too deep.
right in and asked for a toy.
The chutney.
Is that what happened? I can't remember.
You never go full chunk.
Yay! We both
Never
Came into her home. I wanted the toy
God.
she got. She bought a crossbow.
okay.
Oh, okay.
So I
There's a
followed
minute
this-
left?
We still have a minute left. Oh my god.
I don't think I've seen the time yo-yo like this before.
Rewind.
And I don't-
Oh,
I don't know how things
You're winding.
The girl being fat.
Walked up and bought a crossbow. Cut me off to getting the toy I wanted, and I followed her, not Santa.
This has got
Bastard,
serious
I'll catch
drunk
up with
theater
later.
actor vibes.
In the window and saw her giving
Full
the
Richard
crossbow
Burton.
to a very small child.
The need.
And gave it.
If you think I'm drunk, wait till you see Mr. Mercer.
I'm going to steal a crossbow from a small child. What am I, some
We're
kind
still
of
talking
monster?
about the crossbow?
It's Travis Willingham, not me.
Well, he went to John Hurt for a second there.
Oh, being John Malcolm.
It's tactical shade being thrown.
Santa Claus would be mine.
Thank you. All I wanted
That
was
is
a
the
laugh.
only
Thank
thing
you.
I remember.
There's something wrong with you.
Wow.
So
Nice
sorry.
sting in the background too.
Wow.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah.
I would like to retract, and I want to see someone do that monologue to get into Juilliard. Because that would be way more entertaining, including the rewind part.
Wow. Hey, it has a lot of degradation ahead of it.
Wait, what have we dropped so far?
Okay.
Who got the hand
Abria's
crossbow?
next.
So what had happened
no.
was
Oh no.
I filmed outside and it started to rain. And then I ran inside and I forgot everything but the laugh.
Yep.
And I remembered 30 seconds. And I
That's
didn't
how
do
it
the
goes.
voice right.
Welcome
and
to
I
the show.
I had such high hopes.
How?
You are most fine tradition of making
Sorry, you had to
excuses.
follow that.
Blood for the blood gods.
4.5 minutes. You added 90 seconds.
I don't know how time works.
It's time for me to tell you
Nice.
a story.
Oh, yes.
What have I done? What is
She's a skeleton.
Chutney Candycane.
Yes.
Close to defeating my nemesis. It all begins.
I know that look.
What am I doing?
It's the.
Yes.
For a well-deserved vacation.
Oh, she's bringing the Liam hand acting. It's so good. It's so good.
It counts for a lot.
All of the acting I've ever had in my whole body. All at once.
To spend it all.
There is a high quantity of acting happening.
So many people would say too much.
Yes, that
Not us.
could only be one person.
What have I done?
The crimson crap.
Yes.
That's a good alliteration.
This is full Shakespeare in the Park.
Yep.
Yes.
Greek theater.
Myself then.
This is a triumph for that one pilot season I did, and then I been saving it all up for here.
Skies I'd ever seen.
What am I talking about? I just made stuff up. Any of this is.
Look at that.
Honestly.
This is full This is full Iago.
Oh, wait.
Hey girl, hey, but
What just happened?
We've gone off the rail.
he's disguised immediately.
The Ruby of the Sea is a snack, and I will honor that.
I love it.
A toy store, yes. Okay, we're at the toy store. We're at the toy store. We're not halfway through yet.
We're at the point where she's just staring at the camera.
Sam, so help me, you will let me shoot my shot on this video. God damn it.
He's immune to fire. Yes, that's why every time he goes down a chimney.
Yeah, here we go.
Chimney.
Yeah.
Chimney.
Arcane.
That's where the extra 90 seconds was.
This really is identical to every show I saw in Shakespeare in the Park.
It really is.
100%. I can see old people talking at intermission. Like, did you see that monologue at the end of the second act?
There's mosquitoes floating around behind her.
No reason to think about it at
It's like Shakespeare in the
Oh my
Park.
God, there's still like 3 minutes left. What have I done?
It's
incredible.
My
God.
I mean, in like
the red woman.
Oberon.
Red woman.
No, she touches
Not it. That's
Reverse it.
Reverse it.
Hey, reverse it.
That's not how that went.
It's full of Mai Tais.
Mai Tais were drinking?
Okay, that's where my ties came from.
Oh no.
Somebody had to Sam Regal this. Someone had to Sam it.
She's like a mystic.
I know.
I feel like a spell is being cast on me right now.
I can see like the off-screen bonfire that she's looking into to remember this. I recall like it was yesterday.
Just threw some like bones and sigils to try to recall what the hell happened. Oh.
When shall we three meet again?
I had to think.
Oh God.
Oh, I can see this is going to break everyone after this.
I just want to reassert that I did my best.
You've done good.
This is not what we ask of people.
This is enthralling.
Yeah.
It is. And the fact that this is dropped in the middle.
I'm sorry I gave y'all the Snyder cut of Travis's story.
That's not true. This one's widescreen at least.
To bring down that Christmas clown hit.
Part 6.
This clown.
Oh,
Good laugh. Good laugh.
There it is.
Amazing.
Thanks, I hate it. I feel like I was under Liam's lamp.
And that's the show, Aabria. That's the show.
God. Oh my God. It was so good.
You know, it takes a special gift to re-enter the atmosphere in such a fiery display. And that was Second to none.
Man.
Well, there it goes.
Aabria, that feeling right now you have, that's this show. Every time.
No,
Feels good. Feels fine. Feels good about
good.
this.
Breathe it in. Breathe it in. Welcome in.
Self-roast.
It's so impressive because you said you came back in and you didn't remember the story, and yet you gave the performance of your career.
You hit every beat. That's like, not a lot fell out of there.
Several new ones.
Yeah.
That may need to be the monologue now.
I know.
Nailing the Henry
It is my
V
time.
monologue and then realizing that you were in Act 3 of Macbeth.
I only want to know what confused soul went after that and went 4.5 minutes. Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Look at your face.
Questioning everything. Questioning everything.
That's a
I thought it said a minute 44. I was like, whoa.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Let me tell you
The hands
Oh, here we go.
about how I, Chutney Candycane,
Still have that.
almost took out that rat bastard in red himself.
Ooh, bringing the bass.
is.
Now, it all begins when I was taking a much-needed vacation
I was gonna say, don't.
somewhere on a tropical space.
Tropical space.
On this journey, this vacation,
Lost in paradise.
Lost it.
I'd ever seen or heard. And I found myself drawn to this beautiful singing.
Oh.
And I wondered, could this be a trap?
This is passionate.
You know,
I know.
So I went to inspect. As I went through the streets,
This is...
my tie in hand,
Easy, guys.
I accept the Mai Tai legacy.
dubious disguises, terrible Santa bearers. I saw him glamored. A woman in red skin with horns. Before me, he was around her. But I will not be outsmarted.
Okay.
You fool! Christmas fool!
Oh, there's the Skeletor.
You He-Man?
Megatron! And after he left the shop,
Quiet, you boob.
toy shop. Of course, he would go into a toy shop, wouldn't he?
Wait, so the Ruby of the Sea in the story is Santa Claus?
I thought
I think we dropped.
Here.
We did something.
No.
We did some. Yeah.
No, he was resistant to fire.
No, that's
but
not like us.
If I could
It was the flip
lay a
over,
series
I
of
think.
magical runes upon one of these
I feel like
toys,
so much still
then
gets
perhaps
dropped.
when he took the toy away,
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
so glad I've known you
set
long
it
enough
off
to know
and
your
boom!
panic eyes, by the way, because you're hiding them
No
so
fault to this
well.
plan whatsoever, thinking about it. No. Totally problem-proof. Sound. So,
Problem-proof.
Now he's
Perfectly
This
problem.
is problem-proof.
Reverse that. I drank too many Mai
We have a
Tais
problem.
and did not follow him back home. Instead, it was not him, but a small, much shorter creature that bought a toy. Indeed,
Oh.
yes, a little wooden crossbow that I had already
we got
ensorcelled with
there.
these runes.
Back around.
Yeah, see, we
Followed
did
them.
it. This is great.
Watched as they instead gave this toy, this toy that I had set to detonate the man in crimson, instead to a small child, no more than a foot.
This is kind of
2 feet
amazing.
tall.
I don't know how to.
Impossibly
18
small.
inches?
The one-man Christmas Carol.
Destroy the life of this being just to curse this fat man? No, no, I am not such a creature. So, instead,
Who knew that Chutney would bring out like the Shakespeare in everyone?
That's how I fucking roll, you guys.
Boy, what day is it?
Going into the night,
It's April 14th, so
preparing and plotting.
Might as well be Christmas. Fuck it.
That's enduring the storm.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I plucked that up, but what's what game's about? Hey.
Oh no, I'm so
That's
sorry.
what everybody says when they talk about the characters that I create. Willie Shakespeare
God,
is
bring
at the
that
heart
time
of
back
Grom
down.
and Chutney.
Y'all.
Me, Ashley, and
need to
Laura are what's
the back
left.
Like
and
bowling pins.
By process of
it's
elimination.
it's not any of this. It's not good. It's not good acting. No offense to anyone. It's not good.
Shakespeare in mine.
Excuse me.
so
Excuse
disappointed.
me. We will be the judge of the acting.
Yeah.
All right.
indeed.
Well, get ready.
Ashley.
Okay.
Ashley.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Wait,
so
was I don't even remember Matt's video.
Look at the
Guys, look at it. It's
Actually, I feel
53 seconds.
I feel like I should apologize just based on that expression.
New profile pic.
Ooh,
Oh no.
this is damning.
She's angry.
I am here to tell you a tale. My name is Chutney Candy-Cane. And
This is where it happens.
Santa Claus. So I decided to go on a vacation in the
No more thespian
tropics.
chutney.
And I'm having a good time.
No, this is like truck stop chutney right here.
Yeah, got some real Jason Mewes vibe.
Yeah.
the most beautiful voice ever seen. Can you see it, boy?
Yeah,
I changed my name to the most beautiful voice I've ever seen.
I think you should.
Why do all of your accents sound like you're a soccer mom from Lansing?
No, and it's my
She wants to
Michigan
come out.
coming out.
Michigan wants out.
Michigan wants out for the whole audience as a woman, as an opera singer. She's singing and everyone's loving it. And finally he finishes, and I follow that. Rat bastard. He goes into a toy store like a predictable idiot that
You're
he
like
is.
all my mom's suburban friends, like half a bottle in the Pinot, which is.
I take a toy that I know he's going to take.
Yeah.
And
It is very Holly Hunter via Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
It really is.
Except that she's commenting on it with her eyes as she does it.
I just feel like every time I do like a
suitor.
gravelly man, I just sound like the slip into the Slim Jim guy.
Step into a Slim Jim.
Toy instead.
You Macho Man Randy Savage.
The toy is going with the kid and the parents.
Going with the kid and the parents.
But now that you said it, I can't not hear it.
Straight up, Aabria.
And that's where I'm
Next time.
I'm gonna tell you something about Santa Claus.
I'm gonna.
Oh God! I should have just left it at the Hollywood bit.
No, you're good. You're good.
Vacation and get him next time.
Yeah, get her done.
Shit. Red velveteen.
Oh boy.
There we go, old boy.
Big old boy. Yes. That's so much better than anything we've done.
I also identify as a red velveteen big old boy.
Some sweet Memphis rage. Like,
I felt
Take that, Tish.
Big old boy.
I felt like
Goodbye, Shakespeare. Goodbye, Shakespeare.
Hello, Tish.
oh my
Leave
god.
it to me. I'll run the Shakespeare right out the door.
It was so good.
It was.
I love it.
That was the open mic night
I
at the
was just
John
gonna
Deere
say,
Festival.
I could feel her on that last little bit looking for a curse word that wouldn't be too offensive.
Right.
But like you could see that all the ones popping into her head were real bad.
Real
She was like, I
Nope.
can't say
Nope.
that. Big old boy.
Yeah.
Boy.
Teen big old boy.
Yeah.
Stinker.
Oh God, there's only 2 left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only.
All of that,
I'm
This has
sorry.
been a lot.
No, that
all
was
of that
beautiful.
carried over to me.
This is like depleted uranium.
Oh no. It's beautiful, but you're like, uh oh.
Look in the light.
What is this hoodie?
Laura got it for me.
Oh, my name is Chutney Candycane. Let me tell you the story about how I almost got that big red and white bastard, the big man.
All right, Yosemite Sam, what's good?
Straight up.
Wait, did you say you were on a hunting trip?
Somebody's going to see this. It's going to be their introduction to CO. They're going to be like, those rednecks hate Santa.
I see the red, floofy bastard himself. And so I follow him.
This is so Lady Macbeth.
Into exactly the most.
I'd watch the shit out of this Macbeth version, by the way.
He could have picked, which is
Out your damn spot.
And
I think I followed this performer.
That's my dog. Because I heard a beautiful noise, the most beautiful noise in the forest that I ever heard.
We're in the forest, though.
I don't know.
Where did the beach go?
I don't know.
Big red man. Performing as a female opera singer. Was just dazzling the
Wait,
crowd.
did this shit just become a drag show?
Yeah.
I was in too early. I should have come in later.
It's got so much better.
As he goes off after
We are so far off the track.
just
so far.
We've hopped to 3 different tracks.
To everybody.
Lady opera.
Lady opera
That's
singer.
when he goes into a toy store. The predictable bastard.
Whoa.
We kept that. We kept that.
Take a toy
Toy Story, you predictable bastard.
he needed to gift to a loving and kind and needy children, and I infused it with runes to set a trap so that when he takes it back, it'll explode his sleigh, and I will
Sure.
gotten him once and for all. Gotten him once and for all. Pick up the toy instead, and I'm sitting there.
You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Take us home.
There's my ties. We're almost
Now you're on vacation.
And I'm watching this play out, and I'm like,
I feel like Mai Tai has just become the new safe word for this.
Right? Right? You're not wrong.
Nothing happens. The trap doesn't spring. So I'm like, okay. Next time, I'll have to make sure that I get
That was close.
right, but I guess
Did Chutney almost kill a kid?
Yep.
That's what I was going.
Those runes didn't go off. So, I'm just gonna finish my Mai Tai. Next time, you big
Motherfucker.
Christmas
And the Tony
bastard.
goes to.
Bastard was the choice.
No, I'm just gonna actually go get a Mai Tai.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That was a triumphant return of Afghan Pete.
It's the only thing that we agree on is that Santa Claus is a bastard born out of wedlock.
Hold on. I think the phrase predictable bastard is actually terrible, and I'm going to live with that for a while. That's like the worst thing you can be. Like, you suck and we saw it coming. How dare you?
Can we put at the end of this episode, Marisha? Can we put the Actors Equity logo on? Like it
Yep.
Wow.
Close us out with the Masterpiece Theater.
It's like you're.
Oh, it's a deer in headlights here.
Look, Laura. Next time, you're up for your, 4th BAFTA, they'll play this video at the ceremony.
That's the face of no responsibility. Oh, good.
My name is Chutney Candy.
Oh, there we go.
It's about the time that
What is this sex pest voice?
Are you wearing 2 watches?
No, it's a scrunchie.
Oh, it's a scrunchie.
man. I was
She's a Visco girl.
Yeah. Not you, Sam.
right here.
My butler wears my watches.
The most magical sound you've ever heard in all of the North Pole was a voice singing. So I go to it, and there he is.
That's it. Just sing it.
Surprise yourself.
This is acting jazz. It's about the words you didn't say just then.
Is this the voice?
No, it sounds like this.
And all the people are just loving it. They're eating it up, and they don't know the magical entanglements he's giving them. You know? So they're watching it, and he finishes the performance, and they're
That's
all
entrapment.
And he walks away. Hey, I follow
Are
him.
you a red bastard? You have to tell me.
And of course he goes.
An old prospector.
Predictable place you've ever seen. Imagine. So I
Stick with it, Bailey. You're bringing shape back to it. Stick with it.
Great.
Her teeth are clenched.
Pound the clay. Pound the clay.
what he's gonna need, and I give to some wonderful kind child, and I take the toy, and I put runes all over it, and
with a rune spray.
Yeah, it looks like whipped cream.
Explode as soon as he gets him onto his sleigh, so it'll end the guy once and for all.
The guy.
So I leave. I said that. And I
Johnny's real nice in this one.
watching what's happening.
Get him.
This is why none of our plans
I don't
work.
know how I'm watching it. I'm watching it on a phone, maybe? Am I on a beach? I'm watching it on my phone. I've got a Mai Tai. I'm watching it in the store. And instead of Santa walking up, this kid walks up, who's apparently at the same store that Santa shops at. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh no.
Santa just buys in bulk at Costco.
And then it doesn't work. The thing that happens is the rooms don't go off. And
Just real talk. Let me just tell you.
Just pulling the ripcord.
This particular time is really good because I don't want to hurt a child.
You do seem like a lady with a Mai Tai at a pool party.
Marisha's sweatshirt got me. So yeah,
blame it on the fit.
That's it.
Chutney.
Fizzle out.
Signing off with my mind.
Yeah.
That, Laura, I've never seen you rip cords so hard out of something before.
Yes. I mean, I feel like
committed to the ripcord.
Yeah. I feel like it went full circle from Shakespearean actor at their peak to washed up Shakespearean actor at the bar. Really upset about the role that they got.
It was a whole career.
Yes. That's where it went.
Being interviewed on a shitty YouTube channel that nobody's heard of, and they just they don't want to be there, but it's all they got.
There was
it's Emmanuel.
zero story to that, but there was total character. So hats off to you.
Yes.
Well done, Laura.
Yes. Thank you.
You did that thing where if you don't have an ending, you just pick a detail and repeat it a few times. My time.
How was I watching? Phone? I don't know.
My time.
Truth be told, I didn't want to hurt a kid.
I'm just nursing this my time.
And the BAFTA goes to Thai lady. My Thai lady.
Truth is.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Wow.
So where did we start?
I know. I need to see because there was no Mai Tai, right? There was no Mai Tai.
There was no Mai Tai.
Hello, Travis Head.
Little island.
Thwarted
Here we go.
again. No! I've come too far. I was just starting to like this tropical town. I'm sure those stupid elves back at the North Pole still think I'm at the bottom of the Halloween tree.
So
Too
good.
bad the great
Where's the
Oogie
Halloween?
Boogie didn't know that Chutney Chocolatecane always keeps a razor blade in his
Is it
mouth.
Chutney Chocolatecane?
Does now.
Yeah, we fucked it all
I
up.
was here on the beach when I heard some poor lovesick
That's the
fool
detail
talking
we
about
fucked.
the lace
That's
before
the
Right, everything else we kept.
Ruby.
The ruby of
Be
the
the fat
sea.
man in his red suit getting his musical theater rocks off in the off-season? No, not here. Not now! I had to be sure. I went into town when I got distracted by the most beautiful toy store I had ever seen. When that is when inspiration struck. What is the one thing Saint Nick does over and over on that fateful night? He slides down chimneys and delivers toys.
You mispronounced
He delivers
chimney.
boys.
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
that's true. I fucked that up, Travis. I'm embarrassed for you, man.
I take it for granted.
I learned of an arcane ring that when carved into the base of an item would give its owner increased susceptibility to fire damage. Carve it on a toy, throw it in Santa's sack. Watch him slide down a chimney and kablooey! No more. I went into that toy store and found the first wooden toy I could find.
I feel bad about how good this is and how much I did none of it.
Aabria, there wasn't much that by the time it got to you. Don't feel too bad.
Yeah.
I had to respect it. But I was not to be thwarted. I chased this creature down the street as she headed into a house. As I pressed my face against the window, I saw a small female halfling woman kneeling in front of her son, handing over a very familiar, arcane enchanted wooden crossbow. What was I going to do? Steal a toy from a kid? As long as he doesn't go jumping in his fireplace, I'm sure it'll be fine.
The look.
So good.
Killer.
How did we completely cut out Venice and Luke and the Ruby?
Yeah, we totally missed Beth.
How and the fire damage.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I think that was me. I think when we took the turn into like Slim Jim 1970s.
There's blame to go around.
Yeah, we share this.
Okay. We'll share the blame.
Yeah, there was no connective tissue there towards the end to hold on to.
Well, there was mentions of Saint Nicholas and
Santa was in it.
We did spray runes on stuff.
There was
Spray runes.
Sure.
Crossbow.
The word crossbow.
I think I imagined it was like a wooden dick or something. What was I imagining? I was.
That's on brand, Laura.
I just
Only you know.
Yeah.
Only you know.
This is the new sign for wooden dick.
I don't know what kind of dick that is, but
It's a swirly one. That's what.
Oh, it's a duck?
It's a soft serve.
Why? I'm so sorry. God.
Aabria, thank you for being a part of this amazing chaos.
Yes.
Promise to try less hard if you ever have me back.
Have you back. Wait, don't we do this again?
yeah, you're up next.
You're next.
Oh, what? Oops. I'll stop preparing.
You get to kick off the next shame box.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can destroy us.
I have to finish my run of the 12th night.
And that's you will be the grand finale of this round.
Of the season?
Of this season of Narrative Telephone.
Just
Closer. Let's go.
Yeah, no quarter. Just fucking go.
Yeah, bring it. Nom 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 nom.
So bad they can't bring it back. I've got a goal.
Yes.
I love it.
Oh man, I'm so glad.
I believe in you.
This is the last.
For now.
The relief came
My
through the
anxiety.
Zoom window like the girl from The Ring. It's just like, thank God.
No, another analogy. No ring talk here.
You gotta do some accent though.
Stop it, Allison.
Actually,
That's
Thank you.
You did good. That was really good. How did you?
Two dads are better than one.
It's like a little mime. Just
Very good.
Upsetting.
I love you, Travis. It's over. It's over, Travis. It's all good.
Don't worry, baby. Everything's fine.
I'll see you in your dreams.
And we'll see all of you next Narrative Telephone.
Blue.